Welcome to our program today, and once again we are very fortunate and privileged to have in our midst today one of the greatest players of yesteryear again, one of the legends of South African football, one of the greatest wingers that came out of South African football during the late 60s and early 70s, plying his trade for Moroka Swallows, entertaining South Africans, providing a lot of great football on South African soccer fields in the form of Mr. Juda Duiker. Mr. Duiker, welcome to the show, and thank you for agreeing to do this interview with us.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Mr. Duiker, when I grew up when I was still a young boy in Denelton in the late 60s. I heard about this name, Mr. Juda Duiker, and I fell in love with this name because you appeared to be one of the greatest wingers. The information that I have is that you were playing right back for Moroka Swallows. But before we get there, tell us who Mr. Juda Duiker is and how you came to become a footballer in your early days.
Okay, seeing that it's such a long time ago, I will give it my best shot.
Yes, yeah.
I was born in 1946. My parents were Dolly and John Duiker, and I was born in Pimville, but we then moved as a family of 5 children to Duiker, and that's where I started becoming interested in sports. But I started at the Duiker Boxing Club, where the great Levi Madi was training, and Theo Tembu was then the manager, and then I fell in love with boxing. So I became a boxer very young, but then one time I was beaten up during training, and then I nearly had my nose broken, and somebody said to me, "Hey man, Juda, you are such a handsome guy, you must move away from boxing, you know." And then I found out that there was a big soccer star in our vicinity, Bradley Tifambanya, and who started a junior team there called Duiker Swallows. Then I joined Duiker Swallows, and then I developed, and that's when my football career started as a Duiker Swallows player.
Yeah, no, but you started off by saying you were a boxer. You were trained by Levi Golden Boy Madi, and also Prathium Tembu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, and then somebody damaged your nose, and you're not going to fiddle with this pretty face.
Yeah, no.
So in other words, you were a very multi-talented young boy, handsome, very pretty.
Yeah.
Handsome young boy, multi-talented. Now, how long did you spend in boxing?
It was hardly a year. And in other words, I never even had a tournament. I just went in training because it was in the same street where I stayed.
Okay.
So it was walking distance.
Levi Golden Boy Madi, was he disappointed when you quit boxing? Did he think he was losing talent, or was he thanks for going?
Yeah, no. He was very disappointed because he was grooming me. I used to unpack his bag when he comes, and then when he finished training, I used to put back his stuff. And he always used to bring me some good stuff, chocolates, raisins, and things like that. So he was a bit disappointed. But
so you're a very talented kid.
Yeah.
You showed potential in boxing.
Yeah.
You showed potential in football.
Exactly.
Then because in later years, I think you also were able to acquire a BSc degree from Fort Hare, though we'll get to that. But I think you were well balanced. You showed potential in many fields.
Yeah. I had very strict parents, so I had to toe the line, and you know, as you grew up, especially during my amateur football days with Juda Swallows, we used to blow in my shop, you know, and Kalama dice. The only thing that I never got, which I tried hard, was to smoke when the guys were smoking, but I never got to smoke.
That was very good.
Yeah, and then just a little bit about the name Juda. Juda is not actually my official name.
It's your trade name.
Yeah, my official name is Othaniel, and my surname is Duiker, you know. But during my amateur days, I started off as a right back instead of a right wing. I started as a right back. And then we during those days, we used to have these old guys who used to come to the stadiums, and for some reason, this old man loved me, and they used to call me Juda Iscariot, something like that. Yes. And that name stuck with me up till today.
No, Pella, during those days,
as Juda, you know.
You all had names.
Yeah, we all had names.
You all had,
nicknames.
Nicknames.
Yeah, like Swinkali. We used to call him Sinkali.
Yes.
But later on, I was also called Juda Bel-Air Duiker, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now a very talented kid, showing potential, in boxing, and then you say then came difference Mbanya.
There came difference, the great difference Mbanya.
The great man himself.
The great man himself, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because all the professional Moroka Swallows players came from different townships, you know. And each one of them tried, but I think Dipambanya was the one who was most successful to start up a soccer team. That's when we called it Duiker Swallows, and he groomed us. We eventually became the curtain raisers most of the time where Moroka Swallows was playing. But even at times when Moroka Swallows was committed somewhere else, maybe they double booked or something like that, Difa had the guts to send us as Duiker Swallows to go and represent
the big team.
The big team.
The big 15.
Big 15, yeah. And people would complain when we come in, this is not Moroka Swallows. But by the time we finish playing, they would prefer us more than the big 15.
Now the jerseys.
We are so talented. Yeah.
Which jerseys were you wearing? Were you wearing similar jerseys?
Yeah, we were wearing the similar jerseys.
So now you could
the V.
The big V.
Yeah, the big V. Yeah.
So now then Swallows would be double booked. The big 15 would go elsewhere.
Yeah.
And you would go in and play in their state, and people would be impressed.
Yeah. People would be impressed. Yeah.
So that's how good you were.
That's how good we were as a team, a junior team. And
how old were you at the time? 14, 15?
We started from under 12, under 14, under 16. But when I started my professional football in Big 15, my first game I was 16 years old.
At 16, you started your professional career.
Football. Yeah.
How did that happen? Was it still different Mbanya?
It was still different Mbanya.
What did he say to you? How did you convince a 16-year-old young man or young boy to say to him, listen, or your parents? Who did he talk to?
Well, he spoke to my dad and my mom mostly. But my dad had one condition for them to say, as long as he stays in school, as long as he matriculates, because I want to see him go to university. That was a condition of me becoming a professional football player. And then there was Carlton Moloi, you know, Carlton Moloi,
yes.
He played during the Mbanya, the difference era, and he went overseas and played for Cardiff City, I think. And when he came back, he was towards the end of his career. He became our trainer, and he took serious interest in Duiker Swallows, and he took very serious interest in me as Juda Duiker, and he's the one who actually pushed me to the professional side. And I think out of that Duiker Swallows, it was myself, and later on it was Teramputi. Those were the only two from the Duiker Swallows who eventually made it to professional.
Now you are 16 years old. You are 16 years old, and do you remember at school what grade you were in at the
Yeah,
time?
I was in Orlando West, I think, from JC. I don't know what you.
Well, it was standard 8. I think it's grade 10.
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
somewhere there.
that. Yeah.
Because I started at. I did my primary school at a school in Duiker called Sholomani.
Mm-hmm.
Then from Sholomani, when I did my first year high school, it was at Orlando West. Principal Matsike was the principal then. And then I did my JC there, and then they didn't have any matric. But he was so impressed with us as that first generation of students, and we were very good at football as well. And he forced to put in matric as well. So we were the first matriculants at Orlando West. Yeah.
Now at the age of 16, you are
professional failure.
Yeah, now you become a professional football. How didn't this affect your academic performance?
Not really, because I had the support of your Mbanyas, your Carlton Mulois. I remember when I was doing my matric, they used to pick me up at home. We would drive to Devon to go and play. The weekend, sleep over, and maybe Saturday night in Devon after the game. Travel back the Sunday evening. Sometimes we would drive through the night, maybe leave Devon Monday morning. And straight, instead of them dropping me at home, they would drop me at school.
Now, who'll bring your school uniform?
My parents. My parents.
So they bring your uniform to school?
Yeah. Or I'll take my uniform with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Did you find this? How did you find this as a 16-year-old? This fame, now obviously you become famous when you start playing professional football. Now fame is creeping in, and on the other side you are still a student.
Yeah.
How did you mix fame and your scholastic career?
I think I had set my mind, especially because I had such strict parents committed to education, and I had 4 siblings to think of to follow in my footsteps, So I was committed. It was tough at times, but Dr. Matsike, the principal, didn't take any nonsense from me. If I was late at school, he would chastise me right at assembly, So don't think because you are a big football star, you can do what you like. You are still a student here,
He treated you like any other student.
He treated me like any other student. I remember he had this style that the final matriculants, we had to do recitations for our matric, and he used to make us do our recitations on the pulpit at school with the whole assembly. On the podium.
That's where you had to do recite your poems.
Exactly. And I remember the first time I tried, I hadn't prepared, so I didn't finish my recitation. And
which poem was that? Maybe something.
I can't remember.
Was it not Mosquito?
It could have been,
Or
it could have been.
Yeah.
And then I didn't finish my poem, and I was taken to task. But the very same evening I committed, and then the following day I was called up again and I creamed it,
You memorized that poem overnight,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you knew it the following day.
I knew it the following day. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Then now you are now a professional and you are 16 years old now. Do you remember which was your first game as a professional player?
Oh no, that I cannot remember. I cannot
Okay.
remember. But I just remember I played with all the matured guys, your Mandla Mabasos, your
The people who welcomed you as
exactly,
a professional.
Bo Gabutlwele, the
German Katagunene.
Professor Kumalo, German Katagunene,
Eliakim,
Elkim Kumalo.
yes, Elkim Pro
Doctor's
Kumalo,
father. I remember we were playing
Bombankuna.
Bombam Kuna. We were playing with Athletic. What is it in Cape Town? In Durban.
Yeah.
What was the club called? Athletic. What?
Was it Avalon?
Avalon. Yeah.
Oh, it was Avalon.
Yeah.
All
It was
right.
Avalon.
Yes.
And I remember it was going tough. And
Avalon was a strong team.
it was a strong team because it had two Indian wingers,
Yes.
and they were very, very strong.
Yeah.
I remember Mandla Mabasu saying, hey, Juda, come. I see him for.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. This is a men's game now.
Yes.
Yeah, so
the going was tough.
I had all the encouragement, and the guys were not easy on me. They were tough, but that built my character, you know.
Yeah.
That built my character.
Now, when you arrived at Moroka Swallows Big 15, now you are this youngster, you are 16 years old, plus minus 16 years old, and there are all these veterans, the very famous Jimmy Ben,
Yeah.
very famous
Eddie
German
Peace
Carter,
Majwe, yeah.
Bomajwe, Boswinkali Masike,
Yeah.
and Bombanguna.
Yeah. Swinkali was I think Swinkali was 2 or 3 years older than me, and he joined Moroka Swallows after me.
Oh,
you
he
know.
came after you.
Yeah, but we were best friends at
Yeah.
Moroka Swallows, the two of us.
Now, you arrive at Swallows, and how is the mood at Swallows at the time in terms of unity in the team?
Swallows was on top of the world at that time. Remember, the original derby was Swallows and Pirates.
And
So,
Orlando Pirates.
so Swallows was really on top of their game at that time. So to have made it at that time, you had to be good. Otherwise, you were not just playing because they did you a favor. You had to prove that you've got the talent and you've got the commitment. Yeah.
Now, as a 16-year-old, a youngster, joining all these people, and obviously you knew about them, you knew about their fame, you knew about the successes, you knew about the history of the derby, Pirates, Swallows, and you knew how that impacted on South Africans, and you knew what it meant in terms of South African football.
Mm-hmm.
Did all this make you nervous?
You know, come to think of it, I don't remember ever being nervous or uneasy. I think because of, number one, the talent, and then the confidence, because I had gone to high school already, and most of the guys, they were all highly educated guys, so they're all guys that were very accommodating and down to earth people, you know. I think that's what made my breakthrough at Moroka Swallows very smooth. They were very supportive, all of them, and there were people who really full of jokes, especially, for instance, when we travel. You would leave and you don't know how long it took, but you find yourself at your destination, because we would sing throughout, we would make jokes throughout, and it was really family unity, you know, family unity. Unlike today, where players mostly are traveling on their own in their own cars, so the camaraderie is not as it used to be during our times, you know.
Do you think that camaraderie, that unity, that spirit, that harmony,
Yeah.
it contributed towards the performance of the team?
definitely had players committed, because you used to play for the love of the game.
For the love of the game.
Money was not an issue then, you know. If you get something, yes, you get something. But if the things are bad, there's no money. There's no money. I remember today these guys during interval they get NRJs, all these energy drinks. during interval, we didn't even go back to the dressing rooms. The manager would stand on the side of the field, and he would call us at interval. And as we were walking towards interval, they would throw oranges at us, and that was our energy drinks, preparing us for the second half of the game. You know, not even bottled water we had those days. It was not even bottled water. We had to get water with a mug out of an urn or
something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Life was tough. But still, you because of your passion, the main driving force was the passion for the game.
Yeah, was the passion for the game.
And the love for the fans, to give the fans.
Yeah.
Because the fans would pack the stadium to come and watch you.
Yeah. And we used to have guys like Boy Barde, who was a big fan.
Yeah.
Marboy, big fan. They were the real outies during those days, you know, and they were also in the taxi industry, so you wouldn't want to disappoint them, because they'll take you to task if you didn't play well, you know. So you'd always give it your best to make sure that, in other words, nobody had to motivate you. You were self-motivated, you know. The occasion, especially when we were playing with Pirates, and then just the magnitude of the occasion would give you the necessary the necessary motivation.
Now, do you remember your first game against Orlando Pirates?
Oh yeah. I can't remember which stadium it was.
Yeah, but
but yes, and that's where we came face to face with guys like Percy, Moloi.
Were you nervous before the game? What was the greatest threat on the other side? I mean, what was the threat in Pirates that could have made you nervous? That made you to have a bit of a sleepless night the night before?
There was a guy who played there, number 3, left back, who I had to face. They used to call him Bombam Zion.
Bombam Zion.
Yeah.
The corner kick specialist.
Bombam Zion. He was a hard tackler. So at the beginning, that's the guy who used to make me a bit nervous. But once I
you were a winger. And if he was a right back, he was going to come face to face with
you.
Were you nervous about that?
Initially, until I got to master him, because he used to be extremely fast, and I had a way of when he comes to me fast, I would have a way to offset him, and he would go past and come back very quickly, you know. So I mastered him eventually. But he was a hard tackler.
Now tell us about the game, the Pirates Swallows game, the derby now. You know, how did it go on the day?
Well, it sometimes we won, obviously, and sometimes we lost. But our games were quite even. But as I said, that Keizam Daung and Chipomloi were a real threat through us. But we also had our superstars like Benny Goodman, Masego. Up front, it's your German Gunenes, myself, and
Nkuna,
Swinkali. We held our own against those guys, but as I said to you earlier on, Chipa and Kaiser would get the ball from halfway,
Yeah.
and they would pass between the two
of them
until they end up in a goal without going to the wings or anywhere.
The terrible twins.
The terrible twins. So that interpassing was their trademark.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we had a Bomba Nkuna. If we give him a through pass, we turn back, we go to the center line, because we know once it's a through pass, it's a goal, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. He had a way of terrorizing goalkeepers. And he was also extremely good because of his physique.
Oh, he was a big guy.
He was a big guy. His physique on in the air, you know.
Okay.
The other one who was also good in the air was Eddie Peace Majo. He was playing number 5, and then Pro Kumalo was his right back. Yeah.
So that's the late Pro Kumalo, Dr. Kumalo's father.
Dr. Kumalo's father. Yeah. And then he was on the left, and then on the right was Steve. I can't remember his name, but it was Steve. His nickname was Mgeu.
Yeah.
Also a very, very, very hard tackler. Yeah.
Goals. Now, scoring goals. Today we see goals. We see strikers who go for games 5, 6, sometimes 10 games without scoring.
Yeah.
Was that acceptable during your time?
No. We had to score. And you were not just depending on a striker. The whole front line was expected to score. And we used to play a lot of interchange. You find Kata Gunene from the left-hand side. That's why they used to call him Kata, because he was cutting across the field.
German Kata Gunene?
Yeah, German Kata Gunene.
Now, please that you explain that, because I never knew why German was called German Kata Gunene.
Yeah, you get the ball on the left-hand side, and he would cut across, and me on the right-hand side.
Cut across.
Yeah.
You were both cutters.
Yeah, we were both cutters, but he was the one as known as.
He was the main cutter.
Yeah, and he was also a very tough. You couldn't just dispossess him. He was very good with the ball at his feet, you know.
Very good for ball control.
Yeah, and then you had Swing Kali and Mandla Mabaso in front there, who were very good in the air as well. You know?
Yeah. Did you have Mtunzi Kota as your defender?
Yeah, but he came later.
How was it? What kind of defender was he?
That boy, he had the one thing he had on him is calmness. You know, he would dribble right at the back there. He would dribble right at the back there. Calm, and he never panicked. That's what made him. It was almost like Bonke. What was Bonke's surname? But he also played. Bonke, you call it Bonka Bantu, you know.
It's okay.
Yeah, he was also very calm.
That was a Bantu.
Yeah. He was also extremely good.
So now, and who else were your reliable defenders at the time?
Well, then the two midfielders they were almost as good as Kaiser and Chipa, except that they were playing midfield. That was Waya Masugu and Tiza Sakhabani. They were our midfielders. Waya Masugu was the one who was a tough tackler. If you beat him, either you or the ball will stay behind. You can't both go through him. And then Tizas Khapani was the more strategic one, giving directions from the back. And it's a pity that his career ended up not too well, because he ended up going to Botswana to go and play in Botswana. Ended up becoming a citizen, I think, and played for the national team. He's the big shot there. But his health
deteriorated badly.
He had sugar diabetes. He ended up being amputated both his legs. I still communicate with him when he's over here. But I promised him that I will bring the guys one day into Botswana for us, just to be together with him and talk about the good old days.
The good old days. It would be nice to meet him.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Now, but all this is happening and you are still a student, or you already graduated at high school?
Yeah, still at high school, because when I graduated and I went to Fort Hare University, I only used to play when I came back on holiday, But at times, if they are desperate for a big game, maybe a game like Swallows, like Pirates, they used to go and fetch me on a Friday, come play the Saturday, and then go back the Sunday.
How would you guys handle a situation where the team is down? Swallows, you are down, say maybe you're playing with Pirates, it's a Soweto derby.
Yeah.
And the Pirates are leading, and it's halftime, and they're leading maybe by 2 goals to 0 or 3 goals to 0. And the great guys, Chipamului, Keizamtaung scored. And what would be your attitude as a team? Would you say, guys, then you throw in the towel? What would be your attitude?
No,
it's 3-0, Baba. 3-0 is good.
But we had that attitude of never say never,
Never say die spirit.
No, never say die spirit.
Yes.
Especially when we play with the big the likes of
you wouldn't give up.
No, we wouldn't give up. We wouldn't give up. Yeah. Because today it's them, tomorrow it's us, Yeah. So when you prepare, and during those days we also had our we had a guy called Jauza.
Yes, please tell us about that, because that was going to be my next question. To tell us a bit about Intelezi and Muti, and if Intelezi was the 12th player, and when would Intelezi come to the rescue?
Oh, definitely that was the case. We used to be fetched on a Friday night.
Yeah.
When the guys today are sleeping in hotels, pre the game day, we used to be picked up on a Friday evening.
Game is Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon.
Yes. And we would be taken to Jauza's place.
Oh, okay. You call them Jauzas?
Jauza was his name.
Yeah.
Babu Jauza.
Babu Jauza.
Yeah. And then we used to go to his house, a 4-roomed house,
Yeah.
And he was staying alone,
Babu
Jauza. And then we would camp. You used to bring your own blanket and things like that, and then some mattresses were kept there,
sponges
and things like that. And then we used to sleep in the 11 of us or 12 of us used to sleep in the three rooms. Furniture would be taken out. We sleep on the floor.
Yeah.
And he's in his own room.
Yeah.
And then he would do his magic with us. The first thing we were Stava.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was painful, And then put some muti in there.
Yeah.
But the one that I really, really, really hated, and Swinkali and myself used to condemn this thing, to say, man, this is barbaric. And if we lose, they used to blame me and Swinkali for being negative. Yeah. And people who swore that this thing is working was Dr. Kumalo's father. He really, really believed in that. But as I said, the one thing that really
you guys didn't like,
I and Swinkali didn't like, is the one where there was a big bath. I want to eat prepared with all the herbs in there, and with all 11 of us strip naked and
one by one. You use that to wash yourself. Now, what is it that you didn't like about was it
the hygiene part? The hygiene part. How can 11 people go through the same water? And And once you start playing, sometimes this damn thing starts itching, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
But that was team spirit. You had to do it, whether you believe in it or not.
Yeah.
That was it. It has to happen.
Yeah.
And then obviously one of the players or the captain used to be given some muti to go and put at the poles, you know.
At your poles or the poles of the opposition?
Yeah, on the opposition poles. If you go that way, it's on this poles. If you go that way, it's on the other poles.
Now, did they tell you what this thing would do that you put?
Yeah,
it will stop the ball from going in.
He will say if a striker comes, he will see a spook in the and miss kick or something.
And miss kick or something. Or it was to stop the opposition.
Or stop the opposition, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but then, okay, that was very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, in your view, how much did that contribute towards victory? And was there a time when that muti let you down?
Oh yeah. It
maybe not properly
and then we would challenge Bab Jauza. We say, Bab Jauza, what has gone wrong now? Eh?
Yeah.
Why?
And then what would he say? He'd say, I'm Mixanga, guys.
Yeah, no, he would have an excuse. For instance, when we played in Durban, before the game or after the game, we would go to
his place.
No, we would go into the sea, you know, into the beach and things like that.
Yeah.
He never used to go into the beach because as a young, he thought the sea would swallow him up, you know. Yeah.
Yo. So now that was part of the preparation.
Oh
for
yeah,
the big game.
that was part of the preparation. Very, very. And as I say, most of the people were very competent, and Swinkali and I bought into it, but we were not comfortable with it.
You're not comfortable. Yeah. Now tell us about your big victories. The victories that stuck in your mind, where you feel that as a team you really did well, very much against the odds, where you won big important games, maybe against Pirates, maybe against the newly formed Kaizer Chiefs.
I don't remember me playing against Kaizer Chiefs. I think Kaizer Chiefs got formed after me.
Yeah. Okay, but
I remember Kaizer was really an inspiration. I take my hat off for him because when I was doing my matric, playing at school at Orlando West, there's that Pefeni soccer field not far from Orlando West High School. And then there's the Pefeni station just on top there.
Okay.
People who used to come from work, get off the train, stand on the platform and watch us play.
Oh, that's how close it was.
That's how close it was. They didn't even have to go down to the field.
Oh, okay.
They just stood on the platforms and they could see us play.
Yeah.
So that's where we used to play, and that's where Kaizer Mtau sometimes would go and train himself. I remember there's a time when when I walked, because I used to walk to school from, and I used to pass that Pefeni ground, and you'd find Kaizer practicing all by himself there. And I remember one time he said to me, he called me and he said, "Hey, I'm going to go to America. Don't you want to come with me?" Because I was at the top of my game during those days. And I said to him, "Man, this is my final year matric, and my parents wouldn't allow me to go." So sometimes I still tease him to say, "I should have gone with you. Look where you are." Yeah, but that's sometimes when they say you must have an objective, and to go for your objective you must be focused. Kaizer is that kind of a person. Nothing could take his focus away from football. That is why he ended up. He didn't do football half-hearted. He did it 100%.
Kaizer wanted you to go with him.
Yeah.
And then you were still doing your matric.
Yeah.
Couldn't it have been possible maybe for you to postpone and say, "Okay, let me finish my matric, I will join you"?
Yeah.
Didn't you have that discussion with your parents to say, Kaiser is making me an offer to go with him.
No, I think what happened then, we lost touch because he went over and I stayed behind. So we really lost touch, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because one would have thought that maybe you could have followed him later on, but, you didn't.
Yeah. You know, sometimes you never know. Should I have gone fight my parents or, you know? But
yeah.
I mean, it was one in.
It was an opportunity.
It was 1 in 1,000 chance that anybody. I mean, who went? It was Kaiser. That time that was before him was Carlton Molloy. Before that was the Darius Lomos. Very few people broke through to go overseas during those days. And then Cheaper also went, but he didn't cut it. Yeah.
Now tell me, can you kindly tell us about the games where, games that were very difficult, maybe against the big teams? Obviously the big teams were Pirates, Pubs.
Yeah. And then there was also,
the Zulu Royals.
Was it Randfontein Zebras or something?
Yeah. Teams that gave you a difficult time and where you would come home very disappointed about the
Zulu Royals.
Yeah.
It used to be a big team. Avalon Athletics used to be a big team. Pretoria Kellys used to be a big team. And obviously Pirates and Pubs.
Yes.
You remember Pubs are the ones.
Pimville United Brothers.
Yeah, Pimville United Brothers. Your Chris Rallaways.
The George Best.
The George Best. Yeah. Those guys really played good football. Really good. But I remember we went to play Randfontein Zebras, and Braboy Bart was there, and then we were playing, and the game was really tough. The next thing, Braboy Bart came onto the field being chased by thugs of Zebras, and at that time they had already stabbed him several times,
Yeah.
And then fortunately we as the players protected him, and those guys backed off. And he was rushed to hospital. He later joked about it to say
he survived that attack.
Yeah, survived that attack. He joked about it when he was in the ambulance taking him to hospital. He said he kept on saying, "Akeshi, I'm not going to die, Akeshi." As soon as he feels as if he's going down, he motivate himself.
Motivate you.
But then he survived. And then I think it was either a draw or we lost the game. And then there was a return game. They came to
which team was this, by the way?
Randfontein Zebras.
Oh, Randfontein Zebras.
Then they came to Moroka Jabavu Stadium.
Was Boy Barga attacked because of your performance on the field?
Yeah, I
these
think
people felt that they feel good. So let's attack their manager.
Yeah, he was not our manager, but he was a big supporter, official.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we came to Moroka Jabavu Stadium. And unfortunately, I don't know how, but people pointed out that when the supporters of the Zebras came, they pointed out to him which are the guys.
They identified the attackers, the perpetrators.
Yep. And he went for them. He also was a guy who.
Yeah, he did. A guy that you would rather avoid.
Yeah. So fortunately, we talked to him, saying, "No, man, Papa, you've already done enough damage. Just leave these guys," because they were threatening not to play. They wanted to go back.
The players,
yeah. We eventually played and we beat them 7-0 or something like that,
You guys were dangerous. Morocco Swallows speak 15.
Yeah,
the famous Morocco Swallows speak 15. Now tell us about your goal scoring. How many goals per 3 games? How many goals?
I was always on the score sheet.
You were always on the score sheet.
I was always on the score sheet.
This thing of no goals.
No goals. No,
you know, it's not where the game would end up in a goalless draw.
No.
Was not acceptable during that
No,
game.
it was not.
That was despite the fact that the defenders of the time were good.
Exactly.
The defenders of the time were good.
And they were hard tacklers, eh?
They were hard tacklers. Abo Bombam Zion, like we have said.
Yeah, Bombam Zion.
Abo Mtunzi Kota, though he was on your side.
Yeah, he was.
And Port Chili Boy was
and
on
the other guy who was a very hard tackler was Mgeu.
Yes, Mgeu.
Yeah. Steve Masego, he was tough.
But then you strikers, because you are a winger striker.
Yeah.
You know, but you still managed to score.
Yeah, we still managed to score. Yeah. And we never ended up with serious injuries. For instance, I have never ended up with a serious.
You never had an injury?
No, not a serious one.
Okay, you had the minor injury.
Minor injuries, yeah.
Yo.
Yeah. And I think it's we were very mindful of tackles, you know. Don't go blindly into a tackle. Yeah. So
on average, you know, per 5 games, on average, how many goals do you think
40
you
or
score?
50% of the time I would score. Yeah.
You know, when you observe overseas football, say they will show you maybe on TV, they'll show you a guy like, say, Ian Wright. You know, these guys who analyze football in England, and they will show you the number of goals that he scored. 115 goals in 220 games.
Yeah.
And I usually do my arithmetic very quickly, and you'll find that it is usually a goal per 2 games.
Yeah.
You know, a goal per 2 games, or maybe 2 goals in 3 games.
Yeah.
So you were that kind of players, where you would at least in 10 games you would score between 4 and 7 goals.
Yeah.
And I think that's what South African football needs.
Yeah. South African football, I mean,
we need goals.
Today's players, I mean, this not. How many times a game end up with 0-0?
Now you go to the do you think would that be maybe a reason why people don't go to the stadium? I mean, who wants to go to the stadium to see a not game, a goalless draw?
I really don't know what is wrong, but I think that today's games it's not to concede. Instead of saying let's score so many and make sure that they don't score more than us, instead of defending and then hoping to score with a counter attack, which is what I think is currently happening. But who am I to say, you know?
What kind
because
of
it's today it's more about the money involved, the winning of titles, rather than playing attractful high scoring goal performance, you know. The same with the talent development. I mean, I came through through high school football and Duiker Swallows, you know, local development. Today's youngsters are suffering because you get all these foreigners coming in. They are strikers. That's why Bafana can't go anywhere today, because there's no local talent to play for Bafana. All those strikers that play in the local game go back and play for their countries, and Bafana is battling. Instead of developing local stars the way we used to do in the good old days. But I think our schooling system or the new dispensation, when democracy, we got our democracy in 1994. think our planning was a bit suspect in some areas. For instance, there are bad things that used to happen in the apartheid days that should have been eradicated immediately. But there is things like school sport.
Yes.
School sport was well organized.
Should have been retained.
Should have been retained. Athletics should have been retained, you know.
Yeah.
And we could have continued, we would have been very, very far with our football.
Because
today.
most of professionals, if not all of them, people like yourself, Jomo Sono, Keizam Down, all those people
came through school.
Football.
School football, yeah.
Now talking about school football, and then you ended up going to Fort Hare University after, and then now tell us then about how you balanced, you know, university life. And you're not only doing a diploma at the university, you're not just doing an ordinary degree, you are doing a very difficult degree. You know, you did a BSc degree, and I can attest how difficult it is to do a BSc, because I did my BSc at TEF. Now tell us how difficult it was for you to do a BSc degree at Fort Hare, which is, you know, in Eastern Cape, but your home is here and the team is here, and you are still a professional player.
Exactly.
How difficult was it?
It was very, very difficult, because as you know, my ambition was, after football, was to do medicine, because I always wished to have done medicine. So when I went to university, I did a BSc with pre-med courses. And those pre-med courses, your biologies, your physiologies, your chemistry, you always had to go to practicals in the afternoon.
Yes.
So whilst the guys go and train after from 2 o'clock onwards, after the formal classroom,
between 2 and 5.
Between 2 and 5.
Yes.
When they go and play football or practice, I used to go for practicals.
4 days a day.
4 days
a week.
4 days a week.
I'm from there. I know what you're talking about.
It was real.
Now then, when would you practice them?
I used to go after them. After my practicals, I would go.
Because the practicals end at 5.
Yeah, they ended at 5. Yeah.
Now, okay, then you practice after 5.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then if there's a tough game over the weekend, you must come
up from.
What transport did you use to travel from?
They used to drive through the night
for a Saturday game.
Yeah.
Friday night when you sent Lily, you drive.
Yeah, you drive.
Then when would you sleep? If you leave,
sleep in the car. Sleep in the car, because they used to send a private car.
Yeah. And then you'd still perform.
Yeah, and I still perform.
So that's now what you call total dedication.
Total dedication
and commitment.
Yeah.
But you would still pass. How did you perform in your first year?
No. I crimped my BSc and I did not LLB. What is the teacher's diploma thing?
STD.
STD, yeah. Yeah.
So you got your BSc in record time?
Yeah, BSc in record time. Yeah.
And yet you were a professional player?
Professional football player.
And some of us who were not professional players, we struggled with the very same courses that you got with these.
Yeah, but you went all the way. You're a doctor today, man. I should have stuck in, but then, after finishing university,
yes,
I was.
When did you graduate your BSc?
It was 74, I think.
Okay, it's somewhere 74.
73, 74, yeah. Then I joined industry, and then I fell into a very, very good company because of
your majors.
My majors.
What were your majors?
Chemistry and biochemistry.
Yeah. No, with those are good subjects.
It was I was geared up for the food industry. That's why I joined Nestle. And since I joined Nestle, I never looked back. There's hardly a country, I can count the countries I haven't been on one hand than the countries I've all been to because of Nestle.
So they really
posted.
You traveled the world.
Yeah, I traveled the world. And the good thing about it was I traveled with my family.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, Beck, let's summarize then your football career. We thank you for giving us, that information on you finished your BSc, you got a very good job. Then at what point then did you stop playing football?
I don't know if you remember Ratamukhatling. He is now
the man who used to play wearing spectacles.
Exactly. Yeah. Ratamukhatling. He's now.
Why was he always wearing spectacles?
He's the judge. Eyesight. I started developing the same problem where I became short-sighted. Yeah. And already at Forte.
You were together at Forte?
Yeah, at Forte, yeah. I started playing with glasses.
You also played with glasses?
Now and again, especially when the weather was bad, then I would play with glasses. There were no contact lenses then, or even later on I tried contact lenses, but I could never fiddle with things in my eyes,
Okay.
So then when I started having problems with my eyesight, then I said to myself, I think this is time to hang up my boots,
So you stopped playing football not because of an injury, not because of pressure,
age,
not because of age, but it was
because my eyesight,
But by then you had a very wonderful career.
Yeah.
What is it that in 5 minutes, as we summarize, what are your highlights that you will remember? Those memorable moments in football that you always want to carry with you?
I think the highlights of my football career was basically the discipline. For instance, if I used to travel with my children or my nephews and I show them some of the guys I used to play football with, they say to me, Norman, this old man, you played with this old man, the same team. And that kept me physically, health-wise, on top of the world, That's one discipline football gives you to be committed in life and not throw your life away. But the games, obviously, that will get stuck in my mind is the games when we played Orlando Pirates most of the time. And scoring goals was just a pleasure. Celebrating,
Now, I understand what you're saying now, Mr. Juda Duiker, and we really thank you. If you were to give them advice in 1 minute, look, you told us when you were born, but I must say, and I think the viewers who looking at this interview will agree with me. You look like you are 46. You have such a youthful, and you're looking good, you're looking healthy at your age, looking like you are hardly, you don't look like you've reached 50.
Yeah.
What advice can you give to the current football players, number one, to encourage them to play better football, and also, to look as good as you are at your age?
Yeah, I think it's just when you play football, why are you playing football? What is the focus? Is the focus earning that big money, driving around in flashy cars? I mean, look how many good footballers have we lost because of car accidents, number one. How many footballers are we losing today who have gone broke, cars repossessed, houses repossessed, because they were not focused in or self-disciplined in terms of looking after their finances whilst they are still on top of their game. So I think I saw a program this morning where Amazulu football team has set up an academy or a school where they take their footballers through courses, especially in terms of managing their finances and something like that. That's one good thing, where they have to get these guys back onto discipline, so that they must plan their lives after football. I mean, I've seen some sad stories of guys who were on top of their game at one stage, had the money, but today they've got nothing. They've got nothing. That is why I said to you, I had this idea in mind to go around and try and unearth, because I have the time now, and unearth, find out where our colleagues are, those who used to play with us, where are they, what are they doing,
That's right.
For instance, my first assignment would be to go to Tizas Khapani, get his story, and see how people can learn from his experiences.
Absolutely.
And then those who are battling, for instance, a guy like I'm told, what is his name, Johnson. He used to play for Kaizer Chiefs, man. His surname was Johnson, man. Zero Johnson. I'm told that he was staying in a squatter camp at one stage.
Yeah.
How do we stop things like that from happening?
Absolutely.
We mustn't just hero worship guys when they are on top of their game, but when the chips are down, we hardly look at them.
Yeah. No, man, we thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Juda.
And then, as I said to you, we currently belong to a structure called Soccer Legends. Yeah. We meet once every month, first Sunday of the new month, and that's where we're trying to the first thing, which is always on top, masfihla and the burial side of it, and then the other side is where we try to see how can we give back to the community in terms of where we come from. Yeah.
Mr.
So
Juda,
that's what I am involved with now.
Norman, thank you so much for your story. A very interesting story, and we really thank you for your time. And that then brings us to the end of today's program.
Mm-hmm.
We really appreciate your story. Is very interesting and very inspiring, and and how you guys were committed, and especially that part where you had to balance, your studies.
Yeah.
That then brings us to the end of this show. And can you just say Valilisa to the viewers?
Oh yeah, I wish to thank you because it's such a long time since we played. Very few youngsters would remember us, especially in 1994. It's nice to be remembered for the good things that we did, for the contributions that we made. I just wished that, for instance, the PSL could have a database of all the players and give them something to do, instead of forgetting all about them. Maybe give them something, maybe say once a month, give them free tickets to go and see some of the games, instead of these guys paying now. They hardly have anything to pay to go and watch games.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but I hope I'll sit down one day with Dr. Koza and share my views with him, Yeah.
No, thank you so much.
And thanks for you for coming and spending time with me. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That then brings us to the end of the show today. That's from me, Ronnie Masilela, and with Lebu, Linda, and Ernest. We're saying this is our program. We say like, share, comment, and join the channel. May God bless you all.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.